Welcome to Unjustified, where we always cover the truth, the facts, the good, the bad, the ugly, on an unbiased and sometimes very unpopular opinion. If you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe now and hit the notification bell, and that way you will receive all of our upcoming videos. Thank you so much for being here, and we do hope you enjoy today's video. Hello, Team Unjustified. So how are y'all liking or hating those premieres? I decided to do those because I honestly thought that I already had all of these cam footages on my channel, and doing What's Wednesday, I realized that I didn't. They must have been on my old channel. So I was like, I need to get, I'm really working on getting all of the discovery on my channel so it can be there for anyone that needs to reference it. And yes, even creators, if they want to use it, they know they're welcome to. So, I've just been working on getting it all out here, and I thought, well, I will just do it in chronicle order and just do a premiere. And on the nights that we can, me and Dave's going to have a live following the premieres, and Nellie as well, when she gets a chance. She's been very busy lately, and as well as her health issues, with it being summer, it's hard to put everything in line when you have health issues like she does, for sure. So thank you, Michelle. I am so glad that they have been a help to some people. I was reading back through the live chat comments of last night's premiere, and I did see that there's several that hasn't actually had an opportunity to actually watch all of the cam footages. So yeah, I thought it would be good to have just everything here. I'm sorry I didn't already have them here. I thought I did, but okay, Dave. So about these premieres, on the first one, the one we're looking at now.
Yeah.
What is one of the main things, in your opinion? I mean, I know there's many, but in your opinion.
On this video itself, they're actually, once he comes down from the deck here and goes to the next window, it's the next window that Chris had used for the 5 weeks where he would come and go. He had parked the Lexus on the street. So he wouldn't alert Shanann's phone of any door opening and closing all the time. And if you remember, inside the basement there's an actual tote on the floor just below that window that they use for a step to come and go.
Right.
And with that too, because of using that is an actual fire escape. They had left that window open, I guess, all the time, and they ended up putting a sensor on the basement door, so that if somebody did come in during the night or whatever, that it would hit. So
exactly, that's true. Another thing I found odd about this particular, I guess you could say, part of the cam footage is I can't understand why there wasn't more emphasis put into all of the construction. Like, it's like they never questioned maybe a construction crew seen them out back and was on the, play equipment. I mean, we know that didn't happen, but I'm just saying.
Right.
In an investigation, it looks like that would have had a little more emphasis put onto it. I did not even see in any of the footage where anybody was even questioned at all.
No. See, there is one video missing, and that's the one from, do you remember the tire tracks at the fence where there's only photos?
Yes.
Well, that came from an actual police cam footage, but
right.
it's gone. So
it
wherever they went, other than looking at them tire tracks, if they went into where the construction was. Like right now, if you look over at Betty's, there's her niece is actually on her back deck too. You have to more or less freeze it and look and zoom it in, but she's actually standing out there looking out, which I thought was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But
That's one of the things, yeah, like you say, her niece. I cannot understand why more emphasis was not put on surrounding the house instead of just everybody piled up inside.
right,
To be quite honest, the Nicole's son, and I just I don't know. To me, he was just one. He's a minor, and two, I just it was just odd the way he
yeah.
was. I don't know,
Well,
but
the
I
whole thing
believe.
with that stinks, though.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a bunch of people in these construction crews, or could have been, fronting as construction crews or anything, and they could have been out there on those swing sets. And I mean, had I been investigating this, I would have definitely wanted to put some emphasis on that, but there was zero.
Right. Well, same with because of Betty's niece being there, they never interviewed her. And then
That's
same with
yeah.
Betty's boyfriend, they never interviewed him either.
Yeah, it was only Nate. It was only
Yeah,
Nate because of his cam footage. Well, you would think that, hey, if Nate's got cam footage, quite possibly the neighbor to the other side may have cam footage.
right.
But it was none, no emphasis at all. Betty
Yep.
wasn't even spoken to until the next day on the 14th, later that evening. I mean, it's just, and here I'm kind of pointing out, and we know none of that is relevant. I guess you could say the construction crew or any of that is relevant at this point. However, at the point of this cam footage being made, it was very relevant in a
Yes.
proper investigation, and it wasn't done.
No. Well, just by letting everybody parade through the house, like here when they do a check, a wellness check on somebody, they ask the homeowner if they would stand outside while they go in and clear the house. Because one thing you don't want to do is fall upon a crime scene or somebody that could be still in the house. And then the biggest thing is they're actually wearing their police gloves, not bare hands, and they're not picking up anything with bare hands because you never know if it's going to be a crime scene or not when they walk through that door.
Well, exactly. And everyone just piled up in the house and everybody was touching everything. And the
Yeah,
little girl was even in there playing with the toys that, actually now we know as was a crime scene, the
right,
children's bedroom. So, I mean, that is how we have been told, that
right.
is what's in the discovery. So, yeah, the child was in there playing in an actual crime scene
Yeah, but that's a big
location.
telltale too, though, is why was she comfortable enough to let Madison go upstairs and play by herself?
Exactly. It's just, and Nate, like, why was Nate hanging out over there? Like, I don't get it.
Well, it's obvious that uh, NA
I,
talked to Nate because
yeah,
there would have been no way at all that Nate would have known anything about the fake diabetes. Because the only reason that came up is so that the police would come on the wellness check because they didn't come on the first one. So she
yeah, I
said
believe.
that she told them that she had diabetes and might be passed out. So all of a sudden, nosy Nate saying, "Yeah, she's got diabetes." Like, how would he like? How else would he know unless that two of them were talking?
Good point. And there's absolutely no way that Nicole didn't talk to Nate before the police arrived. There's no way. I mean, obviously, it was in a twisted sense, it was obvious that they either knew each other. I mean,
Right?
Nate even at one point he even pointed to Nicole and said her mom or remember?
Yes. Well, they come in and out of that house as if they were there for a family barbecue. So,
But Chris said that he really didn't even know Nate, right?
oh, that's right.
But yet, I mean, it's
And
like
that,
I think Nicole knew him much better than Chris.
right.
And Shanann never mentioned her neighbors on any
Nope.
of her videos. And if she did, then you would think Nate would have said something like, yeah, Shanann, you know, tried to sell us some Thrive, or we do buy Thrive or something, because really almost everyone in Shanann's clique is connected to Thrive. I mean, let's be honest.
Right. And again, there's nothing happening. Nobody's saying anything. So I'm not sure.
So yeah, there. I mean, that's just here in this little tiny part. You can actually see things that's just doesn't make sense. Like, why? And it still bothers me why the construction crews. And now that I know Betty's niece was over there, and I mean, damn, why weren't these people at least? Hey, have you seen this person? Have you
That's right.
have you seen anybody over here today? Just because Nate didn't and it wasn't on his footage, then that doesn't mean that Betty didn't, or the construction crew didn't, because Chris actually said there's no cameras in the back.
Right.
So it would have been, at that point, worth its weight in gold to go ask people in the back had they seen anything, right?
That's right.
So let me look over here at the chat. Yes.
Well,
Garrett,
that's
the red car. There's a bunch of red cars in that neighborhood. We will be seeing that on the premiere, I think, day after tomorrow or something. Tomorrow is Betty. But yeah, there's actually a lot of red cars in that neighborhood. Did y'all realize that?
yes.
Tons of red cars. On the footage that I will be premiering, not to the next day, where they're distributing the flowers, there is a lot of red cars in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. See, there's a comment there, MM77, about Nosy Nate lied about hearing them fighting a lot. I don't think that was a lie. He did retract it. The thing is when he said that he heard them fighting, I honestly think that was Chris and Nicole fighting, or NK fighting,
That's what
because
I
that
think.
the day the meltdown. What was it? July 4th, was it? And I honestly think it was
14th.
them that the 14th.
Yes, July
Okay,
14th.
that they or he had heard them fighting, and I think that's where he got it from. And once he found out that Shanann wasn't even at home because she's in North Carolina, I think that's why he retracted it, or he was told to retract it.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to remember that part in the Discovery, Jen. It's been, what, a year? Well, it took me a year to do it, so I can't remember. Can't remember.
Well, the biggest problem is you pretty well have to plug your ears when you're listening to some of these creators, because they're mixing up their opinion on what actually in the Discovery too. So you got to watch with that too. That, and if you happen to be blessed and watched Netflix and how one-sided that is, you'll never find out anything, just the one side of a conversation, and that's it. So
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Remember when yeah, it was Netflix, wasn't it? Remember when it first came out and we started getting all these new subscribers and things of that nature, and they were
yeah,
just so confused. Really, they were confused.
right.
But many was wanting to, I mean, the Netflix documentary for many actually brought them more questions, way more questions than answers. And they could see that it was kind of a one-sided situation, kind of like the Avery case. Stephen Avery. Now, the Making a Murder documentary is outstanding. It is absolutely a damn good documentary. However, you can see the one-sidedness there. You can.
Oh yes.
Um, as far as Stephen Avery being innocent, I'm uncertain on that. Brendan Dassey, I believe he is innocent, but I was trying to dig into the Avery case, you know what I mean, just to see, because it was so controversial, and I still don't have I don't know if I feel 100% that Stephen's innocent, but Brandon, I do think he
Right.
is. Now, if you just go off of the documentary, oh yeah, Stephen is innocent as they come, but we all know I don't do that.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I ain't gonna do that. Um, yeah, I agree, Jen. That's exactly what we were just talking about. It is so odd. I mean, it's just so odd that no one was asked, hey, have you seen this lady? Or have you seen anything going on over there? Or have you heard anything on this day except Nate?
Right. Well,
This
even with
was,
Betty's niece, because there was reports that they thought it was her car leaving, and that Betty went one direction and the niece went another direction that morning. But again, nothing was ever said because she wasn't interviewed, so I don't know. But
yeah.
she was definitely staying there, and so was Betty's boyfriend. But there's nothing there from either one of them. So
Okay. Ara, what are you looking for, hon? In the discovery, I must have missed something. Okay, she's looking for Betty. Oh, she's in there.
yeah, she's in there, and she's also in the digital discovery where they have the police at the door interviewing her. It's
Yeah,
saying
we'll
that,
definitely having that tomorrow, Dave,
yeah,
on the premiere.
yeah,
Not to mention the other people, right? Talking about the gray truck with the camper shell.
yeah,
The other neighbors. Yeah. So it's all pretty interesting.
and that
That'll
truck
be
was owned and registered to Dwayne Kessinger, the gray truck that was parked in front, that everybody has seen in front of NK's mom's house. So,
right. A lot of people want to discredit Betty, and I know this is for tomorrow, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. A lot of people want to discredit her because of her age. And so I completely beg to differ.
no, she's pretty sharp. So,
Absolutely. I mean, she has like, it's like her life is set on a routine exactly this time, every morning, this time. I mean, she knows what's up. And she's like one of these people that's, she keeps an eye on the neighborhood and she keeps an eye on things around her, right? So I,
yes.
I do not discredit Betty whatsoever. There is body cam video of them asking her about the neighbors, but not finding the husband in notes. Oh, I see it. Era. I can't remember. It's been so long since I read that part, but I will go back through it tonight. Me and Dave will look through all that, and we're going to pull out anything so we can show it, tomorrow in the live and talk about it after we watch the premiere. The reason I do it that way is because I find it's better. I mean, we could do it like this, but I find it better to actually be able to watch it and look at it and concentrate on it as a whole. And then we come back following and then discuss it. Because that's kind of like a double, and I don't even want to call it a learning ability because, everyone has their own perspectives of things that they see and the way they see it. But, it does give like a double look and be able to hear everyone, hey, I seen this, well, what someone else sees, we might not see. And that goes back to this truck theory that I know I can't remember hearing this theory. Dave knows it. And was it Andy? Is she with us? Is
I
Andy
don't see.
with us?
And oh, there's Andy way back there.
So she is with us?
I'm just waiting for another comment. So
Yeah, because I
there
mean,
she
she
is.
was going to come up
Yeah.
and her and Dave were going to talk about it because I'm really interested in hearing that theory, because I don't know it. I may have heard it back a long time back and forgotten it or something, but I really would like to hear it. Okay, Andy, I am going to drop the StreamYard link here, honey. All you got to do is click it. You can turn your camera off. That's fine. and come up here, and I'm excited to hear this theory because I don't know it. Maybe I do. It's just been a while. Just for the record, I don't say one thing wrong with theories. I think this case has left many things to be speculated. And as long as we are saying that they are what we think and how we feel, and we can base it off of a fact that we have found in the case, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Well, one thing about the last live, your premiere is about a pool party on Saturday. So I did go back and I did listen, and the police officer did ask Chris about a pool party Saturday, and Chris said yes. So I'm gonna dig down into that tonight to see what the heck's going on with that.
Let's do, because that is very interesting, because the only place that he was Saturday, admittedly, was with Nicole.
That's right. And if you go to Sunday, when he went to the birthday party, he was late going there. And then even Shanann complimented Chris on the girl's hair, on how good they looked, because usually he just has horns. So to me,
Yeah.
I really think that he was with NK or
Oh, I do too.
somebody else that day, and the girls had done the girl's hair, plain and simple.
I have
So
always thought that.
if
Always
there
thought
was a pool party Saturday, before he went out with NK, well, I'm really interested to see if that pool party was over at NK's house.
Oh, yeah, because here's the thing. She said she left her parents for brunch. Her
Right.
dad was like, yeah, you should have came. Well, brunch, we know, is sometime between what? Morning when you get up and noon.
That's right.
So if she wasn't there, and where was she? I think she was at the gym. No.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we have Andy up, but it says they will need to connect their mic and cam before you can add them to the stream. Okay, she's gone. She'll probably be back. But yeah, why would she miss brunch with her family? You know, and then hook back up with her family. Obviously, she had hooked back up with them.
Yeah.
But Chris was texting her from the party, saying that what IMAX, I haven't seen one in a while, and all this other stuff. So he was talking to her while he was at the party.
That's right.
So she
And
definitely
Mary,
hooked back up with her parents, but she didn't say that, did she? She just said, no, I just had to leave. I missed brunch. And she didn't say I hooked back up with them.
that's right.
Just, so.
Yeah, Mary says about the diaper bags too. He always packed up bags, gym bags or whatever, for change of clothes and stuff with the girls, which is kind of weird because that little snippet that I heard about the pool party, he said the girls' car seats were soaking wet, and that Cece went right in the pool. So that's, like I said, I'm gonna have to dig into that to see what the heck's all about, because that there, I'm sorry, I really don't remember that.
I'm pulling it up now. Era says it's on page 39 in the discovery. So let me pull that up really quick.
Yeah.
And let's see what it says. Let me find it.
Yeah, see, the shoes were found on the back deck, but there was no mention of the kids' clothing that they wore at the birthday party. And there's absolutely nothing at all saying or showing that the girls did go home from the birthday party, because Chris's phone did not connect until it was after 9 o'clock that night. So where was he from the time he left the Lindstroms until the time when his phone connected to the router at 9 o'clock?
Right. Okay, I'm on page 39 and I'm just kind of briefing it to see. Okay, Andy, I don't know if you can hear me, hon, but I keep getting a message and I do see you down there. But it says that they will need to connect their mic and cam before I can add them to the stream. So before you enter into the stream, you have to allow it and then you can turn off your camera before you enter into the show. So allow and then turn off camera and then go into show. Hopefully she heard me. I think she did. Okay, let me pull this one up. Okay. Now let's see. I have it up now. This is page 39 of the discovery. Let's see where it says that. Okay.
Era says the fourth paragraph down.
Okay. Chris was asked about Shanann's car and if she drove it to the airport, and he said no. Nikki dropped her off. It's the white car out front. He was asked if he drives it, stating that the white car in the driveway, and he says no. He was asked if his wife had a car, and he pointed to the garage and he said yes. When asked if he drives it, he stated that he took the girls to a pool party in it on Saturday. There it is. Thank you, Era. Absolutely, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the only one he was with on Saturday, he said himself, was Nicole. Now, Nicole, you're damn right. Her apartment complex has a pool area, a very nice one at that. Very nice pool area. Also, it has a playground and a dog park.
Yeah, because a lot of people have been saying that poor Dieter was locked up all that time. Really was wondering if Chris did take Dieter with him because they had a car carrier. You know, so because when they locked him in the mudroom, they had a car carrier, a dog crate in there. So,
right,
I've always wondered about that.
And if those car seats was literally soaking wet from Sunday,
mm-hmm.
then they would still be pretty drenched Monday morning. If they
That's
were
right.
soaking wet from Saturday, they could have dried out.
Yeah, see, another thing is Shanann told Chris to make sure that he changed over the car seats and put in their favorite car seats for first day of school too.
Right.
And there was 2 car seats sitting on the garage floor plus 2 car seats that were in the back of the car. So who knows? Because I don't see anybody touching them car seats to see if they were wet either. So.
Okay, we have Andy with us now. Welcome, Andy.
Hi, hello everyone.
What do you think about that? Saturday, Chris was at a pool party.
At the pool party, I do believe I'd seen it said that he was actually there on the Saturday.
Yeah, so that had to have been at Nicole's because he said himself the only one he was with Saturday was Nicole.
Yeah. The other thing that got me about the Saturday was was it the babysitter also? I was sure she also mentioned Nicole as well. So there is that. Yeah, possibly at her house. Her apartment. Sorry, I'm not sure. I'm really, really not sure.
Yeah, it gets confusing because Nicole Kessinger and Nicole Atkinson too, though.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you two.
No, let's get her. Andy, go ahead. Tell us your theory about the
Yeah,
truck.
I'm going to mute. I want to hear this. And I don't want to be tempted to say something in between. I want to hear you two talk about this because I don't know this theory and maybe others out there doesn't know it as well. I want to
Okay,
hear it.
Dave. Okay, to all of you, this is what I think. With regards to there's possibly a swapping of the trucks that's occurred. If you have a look at page 119 in the discovery files, now your version, it might not exactly be on that page, but on my version it is. So if you go and have a look at that, you should come to a list of the registrations that were all within the vicinity of the Watts property on the Tuesday.
I'm sorry, what page was that, honey? I'm sorry, I don't mean to butt in.
119.
19. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, tell me if you all find it. You should see like a list of all the different vehicles that were witnessed outside there. Sorry, that's my cat.
Well, my dog's out front right now barking at the squirrels running by. So
Oh. Did you find 119? I can't see it very well because I need glasses, so all I can see is the page is quite small from where I'm. But on mine, I made a note of all the pages that I found. If
so
you
what is
put
it that you
in,
think that happened?
pardon?
What is it that you think that happened?
Okay, on that list of where there's a whole list of registrations, two of the registrations of the vehicles within the vicinity, which one being Watts's truck. One of the registration, I won't go through it. If you find the page, you'll see what I'm on about. It's a list of all the vehicles that were seen outside the property, which was being witnessed by Ellie. Two of the registrations begin with Alpha November. Now, one of the vehicles, it says a male and female go into the residence. And another vehicle came round, looped, and left. Now, the reason why I think there were two swapped vehicles, like I say, it's only my theory. It's nobody else's. It's just what I think. This is how I've got to this way of thinking. On the Monday, when Watts returned back to the property, one of Ellie went round the back of his truck and witnessed what was in his truck and said all that was in his truck was there was two shovels, a round-headed one and a red-handled one. There was also a crescent wrench. Now, the reason why I got to this way of thinking was, if you remember rightly, when Watts first had the conversation with Ellie, I think at some point near the garage, he'd said to them, when I was burgled recently, my crescent wrench was stolen. So if his crescent wrench was stolen, how was one in the back of his truck? But it goes a bit deeper than that. I did a few searches on discovery files with the crescent wrenches. And where is it? Here we are. Chris said he spoke to a man who told him he was looking for a wrench he lost from the day before, from leaving it on a rear bumper or tailgate. That's discovery file page 1178. Another place in the discovery files on page 1127. Somebody asks, are you the guy with the wrench or are you the boss? And the reply to that was, I'm one of the field coordinators. That's 1127. Okay, I'm going to get to the point very shortly. You'll see where I'm going with this. Home Depot also sold crescent wrenches. Just let me add to that. Okay, so on the day that Watts's truck was confiscated, which was the Tuesday night, upon confiscation, they said there was 2 shovels in the back of it and a crescent wrench. But sometime during Tuesday, before the truck was even lifted, it was noted that the red-handled shovel was missing.
That's right. Yeah.
So therefore, there couldn't have been 2 shovels at the point of confiscation. And the truck that loops and leaves, I believe, could have been another work truck. Like I say, there was 2 registrations, both beginning with Alpha November. And I don't know if your registrations work the same as ours do over in this country. If you work for a company, sometimes they might have the company's, initials or whatever in the registration. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, with all the Anadarko trucks, they're all leased vehicles. So with
Sorry,
them,
speak up, Dave. I can't hear you.
all the trucks from Anadarko, they're all leased vehicles. They didn't own any of their vehicles. So the only thing determine one truck from another is the number on the outside of the truck. And of course,
Okay.
the license plate.
Okay.
But all of them, see, the wrenches are one thing, but see, he actually said that he took the 2 plastic totes and put them in the back or in the inside of the truck. Well, one of the totes had his power tools in it, which are air tools from when he was a mechanic, and they're air impact for taking off big bolts and stuff. So if you want to think that, that little crescent wrench would be able to take all them bolts off, no. But if you look at the back of that truck, there's a hose reel there. Well, that there is connected to an air pump into the back of the truck. So if they had to go and take anything apart, all he had to do is hook up an impact wrench to the bolts and take them all off for all what that's worth, But if you're thinking about him taking off, say, the 16 bolts off the P-patch, it's kind of pointless because the P-patch itself, the hole, they're all the same. They're 8.5 inches. But the hole that's cut in the top of the tank, they all vary because they've been cut with a welding torch, or a cutting torch. And the one that Bella went through, supposedly, it's only 6.5 inches. It shows the measurement plain as day. So
Is this the photo you mean, Dave?
sorry?
Is this the photo you mean?
I can't go to the photo, otherwise I'll get kicked out of StreamYard.
No, I mean, I have it up on the screen.
Okay, I'll have to go back. No, I don't have anything on my screen. Like I said, if I can only do 1 or 2, I can't see your screen without getting kicked out of.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, but the one where it has the measurement. See, right now with what I'm looking at is there's pictures going like crazy across the screen. So I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to the other photo of the truck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got 2, I think, that shows the truck.
Yeah, see, you just showed one of the inside of the car, because a lot of people were saying that there's the big hoses. Now, if you go, there's the red handle shovel. That's the flat mouth. There's your gas tank too that he had put in there, the cherry can. But that red handled shovel is the one that he bought from Home Depot. That's the spade. So at the very back of the truck now, there's a hose reel there, and that's connected.
Look at that.
There it is right there. See how long that hose is on there too?
Yes.
See, I have a rinky-dink one, and mine's only like 50 feet long, but that there is a lot bigger. So that there's at least 100 feet.
Oh, yeah, at least.
And that's commercial too. So they could hook up anything to that.
I think you might have missed my point of what I was trying to get at, was if there's a crescent wrench missing out of his truck and a shovel, how did 2 shovels get confiscated with his truck on the
That's right.
Tuesday night.
Well, the same
That's the
thing
point I was
too,
trying to
though,
make.
is if you go to one of the sticky notes that they have about what was taken out of that truck. Now, Chris said that he buried the kids' toys and the blankets with Shanann, and they went and dug up everything, even around there, couldn't find nothing. Well, according to the sticky notes for the subpoena for the truck, for the search of the truck, it says right in there that the kids' toys were inside that truck. So how did they get there on the day that they confiscated or seized the vehicle when they weren't there Monday when the cops were looking inside it?
Oh yeah. Oh, that was another point that I wanted to make, was at some point as well, between 10 and say 11:30, it's approximately around that time, Chris comes out of the house and moves, Chris Watts comes out of the house and moves his truck out of sight. And it's at that point, I believe, a swap over is absolutely possible, especially when you consider when they had to establish, is it the calibration or the sensors, just to see, you know, if there'd been any difference in his vehicle. Now, because nothing showed up that it did, in my mind, the only way that that could then play out would be is if the exact same vehicle but a different person. And then you bear in mind the also the is it FBI interview with Troy, where he says about the call at 4:48, what I posted earlier.
One thing about the FBI, the only one interviewed by FBI was NK. Nobody else was interviewed by FBI.
Have a look. It's that one that I posted about earlier.
Yeah, that's probably
I'm just going
CBI
off
that
memory.
was
I'm not looking
interviewing
at
him.
anything at the moment.
See, that was one thing about what Kimberly and I were talking about before, is that we figured that NK actually went to the FBI before she went to CBI and told them what actually happened, because that's why she's put down as a witness, and so was Dwayne Kessinger. He's actually on the witness list too. And
Like,
what would he have
how
witnessed?
was he on the witness list though, Dave? Don't
That's
mind me
right.
asking.
The only way that we could see is because they're both of them are protective. So
Yeah,
How
I mean,
strange.
you can't be a witness by hearsay of what you've been told.
no,
A witness is obvious. It is what it is. You've witnessed something, right? And Mary made a really good point, Dave. Or I think she did, right? I mean, this was supposedly taken. This photo was taken like right after he got home on the 13th. If he had been in such a hurry digging graves and all this, there's like literally zero dirt or anything there. These are very clean.
that's right. Which no dust either. It's actually like the photo that you have up of the cherry can. That doesn't look dirty at all.
No.
No. So, and see, what I had heard about the trucks is that, okay, you do not see who is backing that truck up into the back or into the driveway at all. And you don't see Chris ever leaving the driveway because that's not on video either. So, one thing that they were bringing up is that the only time that Chris's actual cell phone, his personal cell phone, shows up is at 10 o'clock, I believe it was, at 3:19. And that's when he took a picture of the laptop to show NK. The only thing is that picture was never ever disclosed to the public. It's not inside Discovery or anything. So is there a picture or not?
Right.
But other than that, everything else showed that Chris's truck went to another site before he went to 319 that morning.
It also says in Discovery there were three first destinations as well. I think Hudson was one, Kenansburg was another, and then Roggan was another. So my point is, you can't be in 3 places at the same time. So how did that work?
That's right. Yeah, the whole truck thing, it doesn't make sense at all. So,
No,
and
I
it's like
agree.
they have the GPS in there, yeah, and then they have that other app that's through Anadarko for tracking too. So that's why everybody was wondering who was actually driving Chris's truck, because
Well,
it
yeah.
was, and then with his partner in crime there, McCoy, why was his truck parked, what was it, 45 minutes to an hour somewhere else that morning too, you know?
Mm,
That doesn't make sense either.
no, it
So,
doesn't.
Well, I actually have the video of Kimberly's channel that Andy was telling us about at a certain time mark, something with Troy. If y'all want me to put that up.
I'd love you to, because I need to know what other people think.
Okay, hon. I'll pull that up and we can listen to it and see if we can hear what you're hearing.
Fantastic.
Okay, and you said it was at 448?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll start here at 423 and should be hearing it 25 seconds. So what are we supposed to be? I mean, what is it that you think you hear so we'll know?
It sounds to me like Nicole declined because I was driving.
Okay. All right. Let's have a listen.
That was supposed to be here about 6:30. Here at the office?
Yes.
So did you come straight to the office on?
Yes, sir, I did.
On Monday morning?
Yeah.
So 8:13.
Yeah, and I received a phone call from him Monday morning, but I couldn't answer it while I was driving. So you can see in here, it's phone call declined.
Okay, but do you have the time
Yes,
on
sir,
that
I'll
one?
get the timestamp. That's what I'm looking for. Chad McNeil, oh, that's Friday, Monday. Chris Watts, right here, he called me.
Does it say what time?
See, and call canceled because I was driving, because I
Okay.
can't accept that.
Yeah.
And that's 6:43.
Oh, wow. I think I did hear Nicole canceled.
yeah, Nicole canceled. Yeah,
Oh, my God.
he
I
canceled
damn
the
sure
call.
heard that.
So if that's
I
the
heard
case,
it.
it shows that all of them have lied.
Wow, Andy, I had never picked up on that. That's interesting. Let's listen to it one more time.
They're supposed to be here about 6:30.
Here at the office?
Yes.
So did you come straight to the office on?
Yes, sir, I did.
On Monday morning?
Yeah.
So 8:13.
Yeah, and I received a phone call from him Monday morning, but I couldn't answer it while I was driving. So you can see in here, it's phone call declined.
Okay, but do you have the time
Yes,
on
sir,
that
I'll
one?
get the timestamp for you. That's what I'm looking for. Chad McNeil, oh, that's Friday, Monday. Chris Watts, right here, he called me.
Does it say what time?
See, and call canceled because I was driving, because I
Okay.
can't accept that.
He did. He said he received a phone call and he doesn't answer when he's driving. And then he said, Nicole canceled.
I'm glad it's not just me who heard that.
No, I mean, I swear that's what I heard too. I've never noticed that before. Did you hear that, Dave?
Yeah. See, one thing you can go, there's another step with that too, is that all these Anadarko phones, they're programmed to the Bluetooth to the truck. So it would show up if they were to answer their phone. The only thing is Chris' personal phone is not hooked up to Bluetooth, so he could use that thing while he's driving.
Oh, okay. So many in the chat is saying that they heard it said call canceled. So
Right. He
that,
never
yeah.
answered the call to Nicole.
Well, I mean, they're hearing call instead of Nicole, is what I think they're saying. So I think that's what they're saying. So
Well, one more time.
yeah, let's hear it one more time. Yeah.
Yes.
So did you come straight to the office
Yes, sir, I did.
on Monday morning?
Yeah.
So 8:13.
Yeah, and I received a phone call from him Monday morning, but I couldn't answer it while I was driving. So you can see in here, it's phone call declined.
Okay. What, do you have the time
Yes,
on
sir,
that
I'll
one?
get the timestamp for you. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, oh, that's Friday, Monday. Chris Watts, right here, he called me.
Does it say what time?
See, and call canceled because I was driving, because I
Okay.
can't accept that.
Yeah.
And that's 6:43
So
a.m.
you got
maybe-
so incoming from
Yeah, maybe
his
it
call
was.
canceled.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because he says he's showing him his phone. He says, see Chris Watts, and then he says call canceled. So maybe it is call. Maybe
Possibly.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that is what it says because he says, I got the call and then showed him the phone. You see Chris Watts and then you see call canceled. So, yeah, but I can see how you thought it was Nicole because I literally heard that too because I guess it's what I was listening for.
Okay,
But
he did say something that he didn't really know her outside of work, etc. as well, though, didn't he?
he did say that. He did say that.
Okay, so if you look in discovery files, just type in Race Street and search.
Race, like,
Race Street in search, and then you go to Google Maps, go down Race Street. There's a black and white car, it looks like his. And it's right round the back of her apartment.
I'm not finding anything on Race Street. RACE?
Yeah, RACE.
Yeah, I'm not finding anything on Race Street in the search.
Oh, it used to be there.
Yeah, I see a lot of street, but
If you have a look for it, you will see that it is around the back of hers.
okay.
And it's interesting why it would be in discovery files.
Yeah, I will definitely look in on that. Make us some notes, Dave.
I can't remember what her address was supposed to be. I know I won't say it anyway over the internet. But
Yeah, Hollywood, I think we got that figured out. We had to listen a time or two, but we got it figured out.
yeah, I won't say where her address is, but
Right.
or was, should I say? I don't even know where her address is, but I mean her address was.
Okay.
They did say that there wasn't anybody who had travelled in his truck either when they took it in for examining, did they?
No.
Yeah, we get that, Hollywood. We've already re-listened to it, and we absolutely agree with you 100%. So yeah,
110% now.
yeah, we good with that. We kind of off of that at the moment.
Hmm.
So yeah, about this, about Dave. A lot of people says they can see him, not Dave, Nate. They can see him actually speaking to his mic and tell his mic to go to that particular commercial. Do you think it's that, or do you think it's just him asking it to bring back up the recording. I think it's him wanting the recording. Now, there was a theory out there, oh, he's telling it to go to that particular commercial
Well,
that
Nate
he
has
had
that
recorded.
remote control in his hand, though.
Yeah, and it's one of the voice activated ones, and you can kind of see him
Yeah.
stick it to his mouth and say something, and then that literally is when that commercial comes up. However,
See, that's either a commercial or a pre-recorded
yeah,
movie.
right. And that's
So-
what people is curious about. I mean, a lot of people thinks that Nate was trying to get him to say she was pregnant, but at this point, how would
He would
Nate know if he's
No.
told him or not?
Yeah, because he's already said that he's heard them fighting all the time, and then he had to retract that because he never heard Shanann and him fight because Shanann was in North Carolina. So
Yeah, so
I'm just curious.
I don't
Sorry.
think. I'm sorry, honey. I just don't think he's telling it to do anything in particular except going to the recordings. Go ahead, Andy. I'm sorry, honey.
It's okay. I was just thinking, when they went away and they were all doing the floss dancing and all that. I'm not too sure if any of you had noticed that while they were away, Bo doing that flossing dance, and I think NA was there, Chris Miller was there, all the usual thrivers, and Chris Watts was there. And at one point, he's like doing a double take on Chris Miller. I'm not too sure if you'd noticed that. And I'm wondering, had he persuaded more people to believe that Shanann, was the one being unfaithful? Do you think it was possible that that could have occurred anywhere? Was he persuading people to believe that?
well, it's already been proven though that Chris and NK were together in February, so that's right in the discovery too. That they
I
were
believe
seen
that.
at the water cooler, so at very, very close.
Yeah, I believe that. But I kind of feel like I don't know. I just wonder if he'd like gone and told his family he suspected maybe she cheated, so it would justify what he was doing. I'm not too sure that, I'm just trying to work out how he was playing this down and managing to turn people against her.
See, that was the talk at first. The only thing is what was it? April is when she talked to the lawyer about a divorce and what would happen with the kids and that. She wouldn't be able to take the kids back to North Carolina unless Chris went with them.
Right.
So, and then as to when she was in North Carolina, there was actual talk that she was with Chris Miller and her mom or his mom looking at houses, but they didn't say if the house was for Shanann or the house was for Chris Miller's mom, because Chris Miller is a realtor too. So,
right. Okay.
So there's lots playing there. And then you also have Chris Miller. When they went to Toronto, Canada, Chris didn't go on that trip, but Chris Miller did with Shanann. And same with the New Orleans trip.
Okay.
Chris Watts did not go, but Chris Miller did.
Okay.
And then if you do your countdown for her due date, it's pretty close to then.
Right. Okay. But he's also a married man, isn't he, with kids?
Yes, he is. And he lives about 200 yards, I believe it was, from where the resting place is.
Right. Okay. But wasn't it her parents that chose where they would all go?
Yes.
Okay. He's somebody she's known from youth, isn't she?
Right. From high school, I believe it was.
Yeah, I thought so.
Both families have been in each other's homes. So.
Okay.
Dave, Mary has a question that I think you're really good at answering because you have explained this several times.
Yeah. Okay, Mary. The big thing is that, okay, on that morning, my belief is that NA was inside that house between 8 and 8:30 because there was an alert that went off at 9 o'clock on the garage door. There was also a call for a wellness check at 9 o'clock, but nobody showed up. So when she was told to do another wellness check that afternoon, or somebody else was going to be calling the police. She called and said that Shanann was a diabetic. Okay, so that there, if she was passed out because she was a diabetic, that would prompt them to come faster. Now, the only way that Nosy Nate would know that she was a diabetic is if NA would have told him beforehand. So that's where that came in with Nosy Nate saying that she's a diabetic, because Shanann never ever did mention anything. Neither did Chris about Nosy Nate ever. So that's the only way that could actually come in effect.
No, and I didn't see anything on any of her texts to her friends or anything like that where she said that she was a diabetic.
That's right. The only thing is when, what the heck was it? Low in sugar or something way back when. That's when she had her accident, when she had blacked out and went through the front windshield of her car. That was in North Carolina, though.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually mentioned in Discovery, and Chris talked about it too. But it was never, ever diabetes. Ever. So.
No.
I know I wanted to ask you too. Was you aware if Troy ever went to San Diego?
Welcome, House Huddle. Good to have you with us. Miss Bendover, too. What a hell of a name.
Yeah, just don't say it fast.
Oh my God, y'all. That reminds, I'm not lying, y'all. I used to have a school teacher named Sharon Peters. And I'm just saying, when you're in the 5th, 6th, 7th grade. Yeah, anyway, Sharon Peters and Bendover. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, what was that, Andy? What were you saying?
Sorry, I've totally forgot. With us saying Sharon Tate bent over, my head just fell off.
So did mine. It's all Kim's fault.
Yeah, let's just get right to this, Dave. This is another one for you, honey. From Sherry Claiborne.
Okay, this is a taboo one too, because if you go into Shanann's rigor, there's nowhere at all saying that the rigor was ever released, which means that she was still in rigor. But people argue about that, saying that just because it wasn't mentioned doesn't mean it was released. So if you go to what they're saying is that she was killed on Monday and she was in that grave all that time. Well, rigor, depending on your weather conditions, if it's hot or cold, and it was hot, so rigor releases between 36 and 42 hours out of the body. Well, they went and took her, what was it? They put her in the morgue on Thursday, and Friday they ended up doing the autopsy, which would take it to 100 hours. So at that time, according to them, it was not released. They do not show that it was released in the autopsy. So therefore, that takes it back to Tuesday night, Wednesday morning is when she was murdered.
Yeah, Dave's always really good because he really studied that part of the, of the whole rigor thing. I didn't really study it, but I have to be honest. He has told me about that for a long time. And I was kind of brushing it to the side. Like, yeah, it just wasn't one of my theories. And I wasn't saying Dave was wrong. It just wasn't mine. And then he was very adamant about it, not being hateful or anything, but he never would change his thought process at all, no matter what. So I'm like, I'm going to look into this. And after I did and started reading into rigor, I was like, damn, he could be really well onto something here.
Well, yeah.
That goes with CC's autopsy. There is nowhere, anywhere in that autopsy saying the cause of death. It says may be cause of death. That's it. And with that, at first they said that she had a collapsed lung, but she doesn't. It's consistent with an overdose of chloroform. So if they gave her chloroform to put her out, say just to transport her or whatever, and they gave her too much, she would have died of an overdose. And with Chris saying that he had to kill them twice, well, that's where Bella comes in, where she woke up from it. Because you could see in the wellness check, they had the nebulizer and it was inside the laundry room. But when they did the canine search, it was nowhere to be found. So,
Right.
and there's actual pictures of both of them being hooked up to the nebulizer at the same time.
Yes.
And like the nebulizer works the same way it did in hospitals with the way that they use for anesthesia, is that, or they would actually put you out with it, but they stopped using it because it was too unstable. You could either die from it if they give you too much, or you wake up during your operation if they didn't give you enough.
Oh yeah, it was one of the first
And chloroform, it actually leaves the body within an hour. There's no traces unless you give them too much, and then it goes into like a yellow. Their lungs turn like almost like a yellow jaundice color. And then with Bella, she actually had chemical burns on
That's what I was going to say.
up
Yeah,
her
Bella.
face. And with chloroform, if you have it on a rag and it touches the skin, it will actually burn the skin. But if it's through the nebulizer as a vapor, it won't. So that's why I was wondering if, they tried putting a cloth over her face or something. And that's how the blunt force trauma happened, where she ripped her lip. So,
Mm-hmm.
See, and I thought for Cece, maybe they put something in a drink, and that's why the cup was hidden in the bin, as well as the doll. Why would they hide them?
sorry, what was that?
You know, with Cece, I actually thought that it was possible that there was something in her cup. If you look in the bin, when Ellie started taking photos, what was in the bin, you can see the blanket. But yet, in some photos, you can see the doll and the cup, and in others, you can't. So I wondered if there was something in her cup that was like it had shown up in the autopsy that nobody could see.
Oh, there's actually the cup that was in the kitchen garbage.
Yeah,
There
there
was
was a,
okay.
the little blue cup, you can see it.
Yeah, there was
I
actually
sat at the table with, one of them it's not a sippy cup, it's like a kiddie's cup.
right. Yeah, they never ever did release anything about that either. And with
Right.
them with that sheet and 3 pillowcases that were in that kitchen garbage,
No,
they
no,
went
no. The
there.
one in the garage.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was talking about the kitchen one, but
No.
that one there too. What the heck was it? That, and there was a doll in there.
And a cup. There was
Yes,
a
and the
blue
cup.
cup.
Yeah, yeah. They never ever did release anything about the contents of that garbage either.
No,
So I
they
don't know
didn't,
if
did
they
they?
got it or if it went to the garbage.
No, they didn't.
So
And they
that's what.
also should have looked at the neighbor's trash.
Right.
Well, yeah.
That's one thing, because there was no court case or anything. None of that was released if they did or not.
Well, we see the garbage truck running
Yeah.
Tuesday. Was it Tuesday morning?
Right.
I believe it is. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that because the police watched them do it, that doesn't mean that the police couldn't have came and dumped that garbage into the back of a police truck and taken it away and just left
That
the
is
empty garbage
correct.
can there
But
too.
they should have, they should have, I mean, you would think it would be in the discovery, but
Right.
it's not. So we really don't know. But I mean, we have been told to only go off of what's in the discovery. So with it not being in there, we have to assume they didn't.
Right. But see, that's with the third dog too. Because why is there not any footage of the third dog?
Right.
And yet there's, on that one report, it says confidential on there. It says that the dog was tracked, her scent out the back and some 4 blocks away. And then it lost interest over at the oil batteries. And that was the end of it. So it's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Why wasn't there no talk about that?
Do either of y'all have any comments about on the screen here about the VAC levels postmortem? I mean, we're not professionals, but you know,
I noticed that when on the autopsies, when they were describing the kid's attire, again, that was different in 3 different places.
That's
So
right. And well, even when they took what was it, Cece out, even though that they were told which tanks they were in, they had to ask which kid had pull-ups on. And then when they did take Bella out, they said that she was an adolescent. So how could that be?
yeah, exactly.
And then you go to all 3 of them, none of them were identified by anybody. They said that they used DNA for the girls, but with Shanann, according to Sandy, she, is she beautiful? Does she have black hair? It's like, yeah, that's my daughter. Okay, well,
Correct.
if you hear some of it, they said that her face was badly decomposed, then she was unrecognizable. So how could you tell if
that
she was
is,
beautiful?
that's just, I just, you know,
See, with what you've just said, I kind of when I first heard or read that about Sandy's reaction, I tried to put myself. I don't ever want to put myself in her situation. God forbid, it's the worst thing. But as a grandma, there's one thing I don't think I could handle that if somebody was saying that one of my children had possibly been murdered or missing and then murdered, then their children as well, being your own grandchildren. No, I couldn't cope with that. So I just think you don't know as a human being. Did she say just make it stop? How was it? I don't even want to know how it was for her. It must have been awful, dreadful, even. But, as a human being, how much can a person take upon hearing the whole family's gone?
Well, one thing with what you just said, why is it she never called her daughter once? Why is it when she had this premonition and woke the whole house up that she never called Shanann to say, are you all right? Why is it she said that she sees them in oil? Why is it
that,
she called the school shortly after 8:30 in the morning to see if the girls were there when they haven't even been reported missing yet?
yeah,
Why
having
is it that there
premonitions,
was,
I mean,
That would
mother,
indicate maybe NA had gone earlier than she said. Like you said, I do agree with that. I do believe she'd probably gone round earlier, but I do think she was perhaps overexcited over the car, the holiday they'd all been on.
well, she said that they backed up to the garage and looked through the garage door and they could see the car seats in the car. Well, that's a blatant lie because where are they on Nate's video? Then again, the police, they actually had to open up the doors, the car doors, to see if the car seats were in there because it has them limousine blackout windows. So that's another lie altogether.
Well, yeah.
And none of her records for her cell phone was ever disclosed. So
Really?
no, they weren't in the best interest of the public. Same
Hmm.
thing with the front doorbell. It took 6 months for them to give that little clip of the video of Shanann coming home, but there's no time or date on that either. So again, it was in the public's best interest not to release any more data. So did she go in that house through that front door at between 8 and 8:30 that morning and latch that door herself and go out the garage door? Because you can't tell me that Nick found her phone inside a sofa under 3 minutes of being in that house. What was he doing? Looking for spare change? Because he was through everything. And then everybody goes over to Nate's house to look at this video. Well, once they come back, here you have Nick on camera, on body cam, putting Shanann's purse on the island in the kitchen. So did they go in there or did NA take Shanann's phone and purse? And it's like Chris said, she always carries $100 in her wallet, when she goes. And all she had was, I can't remember, it was, what was it, $12 and something? I can't remember. It was supposedly money that NA had borrowed from Shanann. And then with NA, she said, yeah, her pills are there. Well, no, because her prescription for her headaches was missing. Only the one for vomiting was in her purse, nothing else.
didn't it say in the discovery that it was only like $15 in her purse? Because that is not
Yes.
true. Oh, that's not true. There was $35 there.
That's right. Yeah. So which is it?
Yeah. That's,
You know,
that's
the
there
whole
was
thing
a
stinks.
20, a 10, and a 5. Yeah. That's completely not true. I mean, we had the photo of that. So, and I agree with you, House Huddle. Yeah. I mean, you would think with the drone footage, we would have seen that with it being such a shallow grave. I mean, it would have been pretty obvious, but we don't see that.
Right. I can see
Okay,
in there,
Dave, you have a
people are
question
freaking out
here.
about the phone. Well, if you
You have,
remember inside Shanann's phone, there was a text actually going, was it Casey?
Mhm.
I can't remember, saying that she had called Shanann's phone that morning, and it said that Shanann couldn't, it was a voice recording saying Shanann was driving and she couldn't pick up the phone. So if her phone was supposed to be inside the cushion of the house, how could it be moving unless it was in somebody's vehicle? And then
Well, what
also
about
you had,
the journey over to Tulip Street? You remember where NA was supposed to be over there looking at a house for Cassie Rosenberg?
right,
So if that was the case, why only a couple of weeks before was Josh Rosenberg messaging Chris about him moving up to nearer where he was?
see, I thought they were supposed to be moving into the basement until they had room. Wasn't it them that was moving into the basement?
I don't.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Because they were supposed to be charging, or Shanann was going to charge them rent until they sold the house.
Yes, the Rosenbergs were moving in with them actually the very next day or that day or
Right,
something.
because they had phoned
Dave,
that morning and said
I'm
that
gonna
they were
have
still
to
on.
I'm gonna have to step out for like 5 minutes with the grandson. You have a question on there, and I will be right back.
Okay, question where?
What is Dave's theory on Troy McCoy? Also mention about the blowing up in Kansas where Troy works.
Oh, well, that there, if you go back to the year before, McCoy actually was in Kansas when that blew up. And then he
Oh,
transferred to Colorado. And he also sent Chris a picture of that, of an explosion on his work phone. So,
that's so strange.
yes. So,
Did the houses where Chris Watts lived, did they belong to the company he worked for? Were there any connection there?
none. No, the only connection that was going on is fracking. They, I have some pictures, well, 4 blocks away where the third dog, the canine, went and tracked Shanann's scent to. There's actually oil batteries inside a guy's backyard.
Oh,
They
wow.
actually show an actual oil well, like the header and everything, on a street corner and with the houses. So what they were doing is they were having a vote to stop all fracking within the area of these houses within a certain mile radius of them, where they
Okay.
couldn't do any more fracking. And that happened on the day of the murder. So there was a lot of people that didn't get to vote on that.
Right. Mm. I thought wasn't Chris's girlfriend, her contract running out that week as well?
Well, there was, I can't remember, it was either 12 or 13 counting her, where the contracts were up for different employees. That's why Chris told the police that his hours and his days were going to be changing.
Okay.
He wasn't going to be working Monday to Friday anymore. He'd be working weekends also.
Okay.
And he'd be working longer hours too. And that was
Right.
all changing because all these people were getting their positions were terminated. So their contracts were all up.
Okay.
And it's like some of them that were out at the working at the sites, they did not have our Anadarko trucks because of that. So they had no GPS or anything in their trucks. They were using their own personal vehicles.
Oh.
And that's another reason why most of these people didn't have Anadarko phones that like NK, that they were paying her phone bill for her for using it as company use.
All right. See, I've heard of that before as well, so it's not totally unusual.
Right. No,
Here's something that gets to me, Dave. do you have an answer for this? Because you have an answer for most stuff, which is not a bad thing. It's a compliment. How come Lauren Arnold and the babysitter, how did he know Shanann had died before he confessed?
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like Lauren Arnold and Sandy knew because Sandy told her, don't believe what they're going to say on the news. And she actually told her what actually happened. And yet, according to everybody else, like in Discovering and with the interviews between Frank and Frankie, they never heard it from Sandy. They heard it actually on the news.
Right.
Everybody was gone. So, which is it, you know? That goes, like, there's so many things here that there's a lot of questions, no answers for. And
here's another one. It's going to boggle your mind. I don't know if you heard this the other day or if I'd mentioned it, but I will do again. Amanda Thayer has a twin. I have to say this. Do you recall on body cam at some point when LE were called out? I think it was maybe the Thursday. LE were called out, and Nate and 3 other people are scuffling around the side of the property. And Nate justifies whatever he was doing or they were doing and says to Ellie, we were just turning the sprinkler on for Frank.
yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It doesn't take 4 people to be in the Watts garden to turn the sprinkler on. But
No.
the report that Ellie had was there was 3 people in the Watts property. So Nate turned around and said there was something like 5 or 6 that were in there, and then Ellie said, yes, that's the defence team. They're okay to be there. But the report was it was 3. Now, what was Nate doing on the Watts property with a sprinkler and 3 other people on that
Right.
day?
See,
And if you look at the lady in the black top, she's identical to 80.
right. Actually, the sprinkler shut off valves for that, for
Doesn't take 4 people.
no, well, where it is, you know, the gravel area at the front of the house where they said that the car was parked in the gravel there. Well, there's a green box there, and that's where the shut off valves are. And what it is, it's a fiberglass box that's buried, and they just had like a layer of stones to cover it. But that's where the sprinkler shut off is. So if a car drove in there, they'd fall through. So there's no way a car drove on top of that. But again, there is no other sprinkler shut off valves around that whole house. They're in that one spot only. That's where they drain too. So
why was he trying to justify to Ellie
that's
that
right.
he was turning off they were all turning off the sprinkler, and Ellie had a call to say 3 people were on the property. Which 3 people were they? I think is the point I'm trying to make. Was it
Right.
Nate and his friends, or was it the defence team? Because there was supposed to be 3, not 6.
Right. See, but even with the defense team, Nate went to the door because the defense team said that they talked to him. Yet when police showed up, Nate told the police that he never talked to them.
Strange.
That Frank told them to call. And again, on that day, if you remember way back when they did court for Chris there, they said that they were supposed to give the defense team 48 hours before they did the autopsy because they were supposed to be present for the autopsy. Well,
Right.
they never waited 48 hours. They did it on that Friday, and the defense team were not allowed to go into the autopsy, so they went over to the Watts house.
Oh my God. Tell me, Dave, do you remember this? I've seen this as well, but not in many places. You know the evidence markers, the yellow ones that are numbered?
Yes.
There was some in the kitchen, but I've not seen anything in the discovery files to suggest what they were, but they were numbered like 22, 23, 24, something like that.
No, number 28 was at the foot of the stairs before you go up the stairs.
Okay.
And then there was number 25 that was in the threshold of the kitchen, and 26 in the hallway going
What?
towards the back door.
This is my
And
point.
them,
Did they ever say what they were?
them are from the defense team. That's not from the police. And then even with the defense, they had asked one of the constables there if he knew what was found, because they can't find anything in the house. No traces of anything.
Wow.
So I'm wondering, there's at least 28 things marked. So did they carry on outside to the back fence, or did they go in the basement? Were they upstairs? Where were they?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it's like,
I know
well,
number 4 was by the grave.
that's completely different. That's a different
Is
crime
it?
scene. That's a different crime scene. This is like when they do a crime scene, they number them from each crime scene. So that
Right,
house,
okay.
yeah, that house was done, like them numbers are from the defense team, not from the police.
That's so strange. Well,
Yes.
okay, so we still don't know what they are though.
No, and you won't now, because Rourke had put that in the plea agreement that 1 year after, if there was no appeal, that all, like everything that was found would be destroyed. And then after 3 years, all the data would be destroyed.
Wow.
So why is that? Why won't they give Chris's phone back? Why? Okay, if you go to Frank Sr., his interview, he's right on there saying that he usually goes and FaceTimes the girls every day. And on that day, he said, I may have. He couldn't remember if he did or not. And what it was is he was on Sandy's phone, and he said when he went to go check to see if he did or not, Sandy had already deleted it off her phone. So why is Sandy deleting stuff off her phone? He said it. Okay, so there's no way of knowing. But why is she deleting stuff off her phone? It makes no sense.
Maybe he'd said that to justify why maybe he couldn't find it on the phone, because he's probably forgot whose phone he's done it on. I don't know if
No,
in
he
your
said he
house, if
did
there's
it
a
on
phone
Sandy's
available
phone.
and somebody rings, what? Well,
No, he did say that he was on Sandy's phone, and she was deleting stuff off her phone.
Yeah, he did say that, which was kind of odd, and I didn't even catch that either till
Oh, there
Dave
you
brought
are.
it to my attention. Yeah, Dave, I've been here for a minute. Dave brought that to my attention, and I had to go back and listen. I was like, wow, he did say that.
Can
So
barely hear you.
I was kind of shocked too when you had brought that to my attention, and then I had to go back and re-listen because it'd been a while since I listened to it, and I was like, damn, he did say that.
Yeah. But no,
Do
it's
you,
in.
do you either one of you have any answers on this whole BAC thing? That is one of the things that I was kind of like taken aback from, and it seems to be the very first thing that Rourke even mentioned in the press conference. So,
what is the BAC? Somebody enlighten me.
blood alcohol content postmortem.
Okay.
Yeah, that there. See, the whole thing with all that too is that they couldn't get a proper reading. With Shanann, they said her organs were dry, so they had to squeeze her spleen in order to draw blood.
Oh.
Okay,
So
so with
odd.
her organs being dry means that she had bled out. Okay, so now if you go to them saying he wrapped her in that sheet to take her there wasn't a drop of blood on that sheet.
Or even in the shallow grave, that was just complete dirt. I mean, it would have shown signs of
Well,
blood.
you could see clumping in there, but you couldn't tell because of the angle if it was blood or not.
Well, it would have been darker too,
Right.
right? I mean, of course, and it wasn't.
See, but them,
There would have been all kind of insects around.
Right.
There wasn't. It was just. It almost looked like it had just been done.
right. See, again, with that too, um, like they took soil samples with blood in it. It wasn't stored properly and it went moldy, so they had to throw it out.
Well, plus look at the 15th. I mean, it came a damn flood. Like
Right,
if it why wasn't that shallow grave dirt like packed like mud? Like why wasn't it a mud hole even? It wasn't. It was dry as a bone.
right. With the BAC, they could actually draw blood from the eyeball too, because a lot to do take liver samples and stuff like that.
Which is the most accurate way as well.
Right. But see, again, that's going both ways again too, because they're saying um, just the way that the blood was drawn. Who knows if it was taken properly either? Because there was some samples done. I believe it was on CC, and they didn't have the container properly sealed, so it went bad. So it's like, what do you do with these guys? I don't think they've ever. Well, there was the one cop said the closest they got to a crime scene was watching Dexter on TV. So, what do you do with that, right?
Right. And like Ara says here, I mean, there was no trial. Well, yeah, there's many questions because there wasn't a trial, but it goes back to the foundation of why there wasn't there was no investigation
Right,
on this case. There just wasn't. There was some people that was questioned. There was a stakeout at NK's house on the 14th. But as far as true investigation, show me.
right. Well, same thing with search
It's not
warrants.
there.
They drew up search warrants for NK's apartment, for her Forerunner, for her cell phone, and for her laptop. And that was another reason why we figured that she went to FBI, and therefore that none of that was done. No search warrants were ever done. And it should have been because Chris lived there for 5 weeks. So that's where he lived. She actually said that she had clothing of his there. What should I do? Throw it in the garbage or give it to you? So
Yeah, exactly. There was no investigation, and I see it every day. Well, the investigation ruled this out and that out and this out, that out. I've not seen an investigation. I have seen where they were laying ground basis to conduct an investigation, but I never seen a full-on investigation. As a matter of a fact, all the motions that were even filed to have an investigation by the defense team was denied. I mean, they were wanting, the defense team was wanting, fingernail clippings, what was under the fingernails,
that's right.
trace, fingerprints from the, necks, everything, and the judge denied each of those motion requests.
Mrs. Dover, about the health challenges. How would you put it? Shanann told everybody she had lupus the same week that her number one, how would you put it, artist, Lady Gaga, reported that she had lupus. The girls and Shanann's medical records are actually sealed for 90 years. Chris's are sealed till 50 years after death.
And I think it's safe for us to say, Dave, that we have found out through a very, very reliable inside source that Chris did recently request to see what was in the medical records that he filed.
Right. Because
Sealed.
Chris never.
He did not know what they were. And he did request to see what he had sealed, and they denied his request.
Right.
So
Well,
that
one thing
is
about that, he
recently.
didn't remember anybody asking him to seal anything, which means that Rourke put that in himself.
Yeah, he completely says he does not even know what he signed. He really doesn't even remember signing the plea deal. And what's it been, Dave? Not even 2 months ago that he put in the request because
Yeah.
I mean, his parents wanted to know what is in those medical records that you sealed. He said, I don't know, but he did put in a former request and he was denied to be shown what was in the records that he had sealed. That is a fact coming from a very reliable inside source.
Right. Explain about the rigor again on Monday? Well, because they said that they never put in the autopsy that rigor was released in Shanann's body. So if she still had rigor in her body, again, rigor releases between 36 and 42 hours, depending on weather conditions. Like if it's hot or cold, if it's extremely hot, so it'd be closer to 36 hours. Well, when they did Shannon's autopsy, that's takes you up to 100 hours because she did sit in the morgue. It wasn't a cool area, again, but that's still 100 hours. So if she still had rigor in her, there's no way that she could have died on Monday. And then you go from them saying she had slight to moderate decompose. So if she was there for a week, there'd be a lot more decomp going on than what that was. So
Yeah, I don't get why they claim she was there for X amount of time, but yet there's no kind of, we've never heard anything of any kind of like animal interference in the soil or
no,
anything like that. And there's going to be wildlife around, surely.
well, they
I
have
don't know what the
mountain lions
wildlife in
and
the area is,
coyotes
but
there. So a coyote or a mountain lion would have got her 6 inches underneath the sand. Like for her to be bled out, no matter if it was there or not, they still would have smelled the body,
of course,
and they would have had her dug up.
I thought that as well.
So
That's the bit that baffles me as to why that never happens. So the no sign of that at all, no mention of it.
one thing a lot of people don't know is the day that, okay, so they did know where the bodies were before Chris, what do you want to call it, confessed. So how did they know where the bodies were? And even that night, like they did take Shanann up and take her to the morgue, but they had left the girls in the tank overnight because it's just too dark and unsafe to do it. And Dave Baumhauer, he stayed there all night with the girls. He said he didn't want to leave them alone. So
I think that's quite sad, to be honest with you.
yeah,
But I did read a bit about that when they became aware of where the girls were. They were reluctant to try and do it at the night time because of the amount of risks that were there.
that's right.
They couldn't use welding equipment and all this. They had to use special equipment to make sure there was no risk of combustion.
Right. See,
And then there would have been no evidence, or it would have ruined the evidence even more so. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah. But really, there's still no evidence if you want to go the farther distance on that, saying that the girls were ever put in there.
Well,
Because
yeah, there is that as well.
Because if you figure a 6.5-inch hole that they said that they put Bella down, that's like her shoulders were 9.5 inches.
Mm.
You know, and even though that you actually like their bones because they're younger too, they're more pliable. But if you raise their hands over their heads, yes, it compresses more. Like, but still, there's no way that their head would fit in a 6.5-inch hole.
I agree. Do you think they went through the other way?
Well, I was wondering why that hose was in the back of the truck. The only way that they could do it is if they emptied one tank out and then went through the manway, put one in, and then filled up the other tank with oil and then did the same thing again.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
Because Bella, she had bruising on the bottom of her feet as if she was dropped. And she was in the one that had, 18 inches of sludge in that one. And she was found face down.
Can I just ask something? This is something that I wasn't aware of, and you've only just brought it to my attention. Right. This way you said Bella had bruising on the feet.
Right.
Just curious how you believe that might have, and you're saying it's probably because she was dropped.
Yes.
But if
Well,
she was
you're looking at
dropped in
20
fluid,
feet. Well, no, it's just sludge. Like you're looking at 18 inches of sludge. So if you're dropped from 20 feet, you're going to go straight through that sludge.
but would it be such of a force where it would bruise the feet?
From
Bear
20
in
feet,
mind,
yes.
if you get bruised, it's because blood runs to the surface because it's damaged there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that
So
happens
how
when
does
you
blood
die.
run to the surface of her
When
feet
it's like if somebody dies and they
if,
grab a hold
if
of
there's no
their,
blood pumping round?
no, it's just how it is. Like your blood gels up after your heart stops beating. Okay. It's like, okay, with Shanann, the top that she was wearing, it had blood from her neckline to the armpits. Well, that was oxidized blood, which means the blood was like the heart was still pumping. Okay. But
Okay.
if somebody, when they died, their blood, it starts to gel. So if I was to grab somebody by the ankles or by the wrists and pull them, any force or any trauma around that area, the blood settles there and it stays there. And that's the same thing as when Bella, if she was dropped from 20 feet, there would be bruising on
Okay.
the bottom of her feet. She had other bruising, but it was old bruising. She had one cut, I believe it was on her head, and that was it. She had some missing hair, and then her jaw had popped. It wasn't from a dislocation; it was from an air pocket. So her mouth opened, and she had roughly about a teaspoon and a half of oil inside her mouth, and well, inside her stomach is what I should say. And as to Cece, she was face up. So, yeah, she was just floating face up. She was in the tank that was almost full.
It just doesn't bear thinking about, does it? It's just the worst thing you can possibly think of.
Right. And see, with them too, they've never ever had anybody that was left in oil. So therefore, they couldn't do a time of death. But Shanann, they could have, but they didn't. What they did is they put the time that they retracted them is the time of death. So, which is kind of crazy.
Well, yeah. I would have thought that they would have been able to determine a more accurate time of death with Shanann.
Yeah, they should have.
With the girls, I can perhaps understand why it might have been more difficult.
Right, because of being in oil, you don't know. They were
Oil
like
has a way of
developing already,
preserving
so
stuff
and
as
they
well.
had skin slippage too because of the chemicals in it. So
Horrible.
and as to that sheet that was found, it was dry. It rained like crazy the night before. There wasn't a drop of blood on it. And the crazy thing of it is these clowns out there, when they took the drone out the first time, they thought there was something underneath it, a body or something. So they went out there and they moved the sheet. Okay, they never took pictures of it first. Like most people, what they do is that they go and they'll take pictures of the surrounding area. They take a picture before they move it, then they take a picture after they move it, and then they put it into evidence. But these guys, they go and they moved it, and that was it. You know, it's like, what the heck? Does not make sense.
It
Yet
doesn't.
the sheet was 3 times as far away as the plastic bags. The plastic bags were like, I think 15 feet was the farthest. Well, the other one was like 5 feet away. How could that be? You know,
yeah.
so is Kim still there? Or she run away again?
No, I was here going through the comments. This one is kind of exactly what we were talking about. Couldn't understand why the grave was clean and clear sand. And this is something Dave's talked about a lot too. And when we see it in the body cam at the station, it is filled with all this dark brown sand. It didn't look like bloods or fluids. It was so odd. Another thing that's always came out to me is on the 15th, there again, there was that huge rainstorm. And we'll see that in one of the premieres we're fixing to do. It was big. I mean, it blew trash cans all over. It was a pretty big storm with torrential rain, right? But the grave was not a mud hole. Like I
Nope.
know if it rains here and I have even a little, like a little hole in my yard, it's going to be a mud hole for a couple of days. And let me tell you, Alabama heat is hot. So, it doesn't dry up really quickly. So, why wasn't there any kind of mud hole there? It's like, I swear it looks like that grave was just put there.
Right.
It
Well,
doesn't look like it's been through a storm and everything else for 2 days and a person bleeding out in it and all of the things that we're supposed to just not even question. Well, hell, we got to question them because it's common sense.
right. And see, with that too, it looked like, well, between 6 and 8 inches of sand, and then the rest was like hard dirt underneath that. So even the hard dirt didn't look like it was wet, So I don't know. It doesn't make sense. None of it makes any sense at all. So
It doesn't. And it wasn't just like a little drizzle either. I'm talking about it was a pretty bad storm they had,
right,
and lots of torrential rain and I mean nothing was wet. Like literally it was dry earth. It almost looked like they were in a drought.
mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, at that point, and you would think there would be, you could tell I mean, you go out there today and you pour, I don't know, water in that same hole or make another one right beside it just like it. And I promise you, it's going to still be damp.
Right.
And
Wouldn't that cause the body to swell as well?
it wasn't even 24 hours later after that storm is what gets me. It would still be damp. And yes, you would think, yes. And they said she was so extremely decomposed. Well, why? I mean, I get it was very hot. I get the elements. I get all of that.
But the
But
water would cool the sand off, though.
exactly. But there was no water, Dave. It almost looked
No.
like a droughted hole. I
Yeah.
can't understand that.
Well, see, with Nico too, because the first report they said it was slightly protruding from her panties, and it said on like the ones that we have, it says that no, Nico was out of the sack in the sand and was decomposed. So,
I have a point to make on that. Have you, the rake that they found at the site?
yeah, we don't talk about that.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's just that. Okay, I'll try to put it as best way as I can.
I'll shut up.
No, it's an ooh factor.
Yeah.
And because they don't tell us, it's only speculation, it's only my opinion, and I don't want to gross anybody out. The problem being is that you have a broken rake handle or broken rake in 3 places. Okay.
Okay. I
You
didn't know
have,
it was in 3 places, I'll be honest.
yeah. And the very first time that they said anything about that rake is that the handle was used as a grave marker, but there's absolutely no pictures of it whatsoever. They just show places where it was found. That's it. Okay. They do show the rake head at the grave, and it's like, if you look close, it looks like somebody sat down. Like there's a bump print in the sand, and where the rake head is, it's like a diamond shape that somebody has made, like a pyramid, where the rake head is. Okay. So then you have, this is the bad part now, where you have Chris being charged and sentenced, like with a life sentence for strangling Shanann. But they also have a second cause of death that said that Chris had terminated the pregnancy. That was the cause of death.
Oh, God.
So you have 2 causes of death. Which is it? And again, with her, they said her organs were dry.
Crikey.
Okay, so, and again, Nico's out of the sack, he's in the sand. So, what is it? How can they give 2 life sentences for 1 murder?
Well, yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I have been told, now this is what I've been told. I don't know Colorado law, of course, but I have been told that the reason that it was in there on a different sheet and not on the autopsy is because they had to use that in order to charge him with Nico.
right?
There again, that doesn't sit well with me because it actually does, when you look at the discovery as a whole, it actually does point towards two different causes of death, even
Right.
though it's not on the autopsy that way. The autopsy does manual strangulation, whatever. It does say that, but on the another page, yes, it says that um, she died because of his termination, and it does. I mean, it is confusing. It just doesn't sit well with me at all.
No.
It just doesn't seem right. Now to answer, oh my goodness, capricious.
Some people
RT's
know. I know there are
question.
some people that get. Please don't forgive me. Just while I remember, before I
Yes,
forget,
go
while
ahead,
you
honey. Go
mentioned
ahead.
about the two
No, no,
different
no. Go
causes
ahead.
of death.
Yes, go ahead.
I know. Please, I don't. I know it's a very sensitive subject. This. I know that some people know these, people who get kicks out of, is it strangulation, when I don't know what they do or how they do it or why they do it. But some people know that certain amount of strangulation can just knock somebody out. Would he have known that?
Well, see, that was the whole thing that I had posted a video. It takes 1.5 seconds to render somebody unconscious, and what it is, it's they call it a sleeper chokehold. Police use it, and so does military police, to subdue somebody to handcuff them.
Okay.
And there was bruising on her chin and side of her face and back of her neck, as if
Okay.
somebody did do that. And if they did, that would have happened probably at the house in order to get her out of the house.
Oh yeah, well that would make sense. And then
Okay. But that
yeah,
means that she was still alive. But then again, you also have them tracking her some 4 blocks away from the back of the house. And they said that right in the video there, they said that the scent can last up to a week, and depends on if it rains or not. So. But even with that termination of pregnancy causing the death, they could have worded it differently, saying that because of Shanann's death, Nico died because of that, instead of saying the termination of the pregnancy is what caused the death of the woman.
Yes,
correct.
yes, because
But there's so
very
many things in
confusing.
this discovery that whatever you look at, there's so many things that are contradicting themselves. You've got the 3 different places where he went first. He can't be in 3 places at once. You've got 3 different autopsies, 3 different attires. And it's like, how many more things can they do? Lots of different versions. It's like Swordfish, where you've got 5 different endings. And it's like, why have we got so much misinformation in the discovery that is not plain and simple? This is the first place he went. What you've got is 3 different places. Again, 3 different attires of what children were found in. 3 different autopsies.
Well, you go to the polygraph. The first one he actually passed, and then Tammy Lee says you're not breathing properly, and that they're going to do it again. And
Really?
then he had failed one question, and that was, do you know where Shanann is? And then later on, here you have her saying that he failed every question. So which is it?
Yeah.
So I think it's Kim's turn to talk.
Well, I was just going to answer RT. I would just, she says, does anyone find it strange that Celeste had on diapers and underwear? Personally, I do not. As being a grandmother, I know when you are potty training children, me personally, there was many times when I did also put on their little panties over their pull up at night
Yeah,
to
to
keep
make
them
them
from
look like,
taking. Yeah, and it keeps them from taking it off, and it keeps
yeah,
them, to have the feel of, hey, I'm still wearing panties and
yeah.
not just a pull up. So I personally didn't find that strange at all. So that, I mean, just
I did a
that's,
little bit. But it might just be because we're different in different countries. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure many people doesn't do that, but that was a little trick of the trade that I used to do, um, while I was
Yeah.
potty training him. And I do feel like probably Celeste was potty trained, but she may have had accidents at night. Very, very possible.
3 is quite an old age, isn't it, though, to still be in diapers?
Well, she just turned 3, like what, 2 weeks ago?
Right.
And
So there is that, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
I understand, because they can be like that, can't they, up until being about 5?
right. And with her being the majority of the time in daycare when they weren't at her mom's, a lot of times daycare is not going to do, what mom's going to do. Ask them every few minutes, you got to go potty, they just don't.
No, they have a time
So,
where let's all go to the washroom, let's all go have a nap, and
right.
that's it.
So her potty training probably wasn't on cue, maybe like Bella's was, because I think Bella was, home during her potty training year. So that's just thinking. I don't know, but I believe that's probably what it is. I don't think Celeste was fully potty trained.
Oh,
And thank you to Thax Knox. I do appreciate that. We appreciate that here, but it's not just me. I mean, it's everyone here. I mean, we're a team and we all work together here. So we do thank you very much. In my opinion, you'd still expect to see some of the clear cervi-colored sand mixed with some discolored staining. All of the sand in the chute was dark brown, indicating the grave was this color. What do you think about that one, Dave?
Yes, and you're still fading in and out.
I completely agree as well. Yeah, my mic. I have to pretty much sit with literally my mouth right. I mean, you would think this mic should be a little better, but nah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I'm just not a professional streamer, you see. So I don't got all this fancy stuff. I don't got all this fancy. I do have a boom bar, but it's just not heavyweight enough for this mic. So it just ain't working. So I had to put it in front of me, and I look like a total idiot with my face right up on the mic. I'm just not a good streamer. I'm trying though, y'all. I'm really trying.
Well, you're holding your own tonight, so you have 86 in the chat right now. So was there?
Isn't that amazing? Like, Dave can vouch for this. I got really discouraged, very, very discouraged, and I don't know. I was just getting discouraged, and I know these other cases are very important, and people are really into them, and I just didn't know what to do. And Dave's like, "Well, there's still so many out there that really, really still want to talk about Watts." And I was like, "Oh God, no. I quit that a year ago. Nope." Nope. And he said, "But, you need to think about it." And I did. And my channel is built around this case. It literally is. And so, yeah, I mean, there is still an audience. This case is very interesting to me.
it is to me as well. I try to come away from it from time to time to give myself a break, because I feel like it just, I don't know, it devours you.
It
Well, it's
does,
very
but
toxic. There's been so many breakups.
I used to say this case had a curse on it. I swear I
Yeah.
did. And,
really
I mean,
does.
God, this case has made me more thick-skinned than I've ever been in my life, really. But, I mean, that just comes with being a channel creator. It's going to happen, so I got to get over that. But, yeah. So anyway, that's why we're back on What's Wednesday. Is Dave knew. I mean, he knows our subs and he knows what they want. And I was like, okay, we'll do it.
I've known Dave a while. I've known him for a long while, even before this case.
He's a good guy, man. He is one of the best.
Yeah.
He
He's
really
very
is.
good. I will say that.
So, hey, does that Lexus driver's seat look too far up for Chris to be the last driver? I've never noticed. That's a good question. I only saw it briefly a minute ago while the officers were looking in the Lexus. Sorry, off point, but was watching. That's a good question, and it is up pretty far. I never thought about that. You ever looked at that, Dave?
Yes, actually, I thought of it at first too, but when actually you were showing pictures there where it was from the driver's side looking towards the passenger side, there's one of the main reasons why I was looking for the garage door opener, because some of the creators said, well, it was the garage door opener that he was putting back in the car, but no, he had the garage door opener up on the passenger side sun visor because he couldn't put it on his own sun visor because it blocked his vision.
Right.
But
Yeah.
in that photo that you showed, you can see that the front seat, like the driver's side, is pretty well even with the passenger side. So it wasn't pushed up forward. It's like an optical illusion when you first look at it. But that was my first thing too, because if they were going to replace somebody in Shanann's car with, say, the wedding ring, her cell phone and purse, and then drive it somewhere, well, if another crappy thing to say, but to me, I think that's what he picked up out of the car was the wedding ring and put it in his pants pocket. Because when you look at the footage, when he's upstairs, he sets his phone down on the cabinet just outside of the bedroom door. As he walks through the threshold of the door, he's reaching into his right front pant pocket. And then he comes out with the ring on his finger. But if you go back to if the purse and the cell phone was supposed to be in the car, and if NA did go in the house and did take that cell phone and did take that purse, then the plan was done. Which means also that whoever was in that house cleaning up would have been there when NA walked through that door.
Right.
And they also said, Betty said that that gray truck didn't move until afternoon. And because of everybody that had knowledge of going in and out of that house through that basement window, that's all they had to do is go out that back basement window and they would have been gone.
Yes, and that still, I mean, why wouldn't they ask people in the back? That still aggravates me, even though we know it's not even relevant at this point. Still, I mean, at the point when everything was happening, it should have been like priority, actually.
Yeah.
Especially with Chris calling out, well, there's no cameras back here.
Yeah.
Well, you've just looked at the cameras of everything that happened in the front. So why don't we check on the back? But that was never done.
No, it's the same thing too when Nate called the police and said that a lady from a black or got dropped off from a black SUV or whatever he saw going in the house, and that he had her on camera going in the house but not coming out. Same thing, she could have went through that basement window and away she would have went.
Yeah, and many people, I have, and I want to know if you have heard this too, Dave, because I have. Many people is now led to believe, and I'm not even sure why, that the lady that was supposedly seen going in on the 21st was somebody from Chris's team.
Yeah,
I have big questions there. Like, if that is a fact, then it looks like that it would have come back and speculated that in the discovery, since that we did not get the discovery until after the fact anyway.
that's right. That, and if you remember too, when the police were talking to his defense team, he said, if you're going to come back, to call us first.
Exactly. I mean, you would,
know?
so they
And
would
it had
know.
to be somebody that knew the code to get in the front door and for the alarm, because they were setting that alarm too.
Right. Right. And it, it should have been in the discovery. I mean, it should have said something like, but later it was found out that this was part of Chris's defense team. That should be in there, but it wasn't. Only thing that was there was an open-ended, who the hell was it?
And it shouldn't have been Sandy saying so either.
No, definitely not, because she's the one that, well, no, it was Frank, wasn't it? Nate
No, it's Sandy.
contacted, was it Sandy? Okay. Nate contacted one of them and told them, hey, there's somebody messing around. And then they're the ones that called
Mm-hmm.
themselves. So you're right, Dave. God dang, come on. Why in the, yeah, okay. Why would she have called if they knew who it was? I mean, you would think they would have, that would be the first people they would call. Hey, this is so and so. We have a report of somebody at the house. Would it happen to be you guys? It's just an open-ended, no answer, kind of like the Nicole Kessinger, the 9:00 thing. We'll get back to that, and they never do. It's just still hanging. And of course you're going to question it. I mean, who's not? And I don't even, I really don't listen to what anybody says. I'm seriously the person that if I can't see it, it didn't happen. It's only my speculation. I can't go with just because somebody said this is what it was. That's what it is. I don't care who it is that says it.
I'm always the same.
Welcome back, Dave. Okay, Celia Rose of Sharon says she agrees, but she thinks the cell phone was in the car, and that is what he got. I think MK was in the house, and she was going to put on Shanann's car and phone and wedding ring. That is a good theory.
See, the only thing with
Possibility.
having the cell phone in the car is that cell phone went for a car ride. So it wasn't in the car yet or back in the house yet.
Yeah, and that's what Dave is talking about now, Jane, is he has actually dug through the metadata with RedX. And yeah, so he's very knowledgeable on that part of it. The discovery is the metadata. I think they planned on running that car into the batteries, and that is why Chris put the gas in his truck. Chris knows how to rig the car, put Shanann in the driver's seat, and blam.
I don't know. I really don't know about that. Because if you look at it the way, even his porch interview, he talked as if the girls are going to be coming home right away. He called the school, said, are the girls there? Why would Sandy call the school to see if the girls are there? Everything points that Shanann was supposed to go, yes, but not the girls. That's why I really think that Cece died from an accidental overdose.
Mm-hmm.
But then what do you do with Bella after that?
Right.
So if they were to make it look like a kidnapping went bad, well, that'd be one way of doing it. But there's other ways of getting rid of Shanann than blowing up something.
Right.
So because that oil well was decommissioned. I don't know about blowing anything up though.
I have never put much thought into the whole explosion theory.
No, because no matter how you look at that, there's no way that car could actually get near it because of the embankments that they have for in case there's this oil spill or something, so that it's contained. So there's no way that they could blow that up that way.
Right.
And by
Okay, Andy. Thank you, honey, for joining us. It was great having you with us. Thank you so much. It was awesome having you here with us. Huddle House says that she thinks it's very frustrating when people who have clearly never read the discovery make documentaries. Oh, OMG, girl.
Yeah.
OMG. Preaching to the choir here.
Yeah.
You know how many times I've been told, you need to go read the discovery. I'm like, real? What?
Yeah. And that's from
I-
people that watch Netflix that said that.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah. I mean, you need to go read the discovery. I'm like, oh, hell, not only can I tell you I've read it, I can prove I've read it.
Yeah.
Can you? You know,
Well, one thing about Netflix that they kept on saying, well, we gave Shanann a voice. Well, that was not Shanann's voice that said that. That was too one-sided. There's a lot of things that Shanann would have said if she would have had a voice to say it.
right. And I don't know because I don't know her personally, but I believe that a lot of the voice that she was given through her text is things that she would not have put out for the world to see. My
No,
opinion.
not at all. Well, what blows me away is I'm really ticked off about it is why in the heck would NA have to go and tell anybody, especially the police, that Shanann's horny and she masturbates? Like, why?
Yeah,
And
that's
why would they put inside these discovery photos of Shanann's toy drawer?
yeah, that
You
was
know,
kind of. I mean, that's
why?
kind of too personal. That has nothing
It has
to
nothing to
do.
do with how she died or
Yeah,
anything.
and it's almost, in my opinion, it's almost just very damn disrespectful
It
to
is.
her, to do that. I mean, I don't know.
Especially when you know there's things that she did that wasn't very motherly, and
Mhm.
you know you can't talk about that, but yet they can talk
Oh,
about
no.
this crap.
Right.
You know, it makes no sense to me whatsoever, and it's so disrespectful.
It is. It says her cell phone was found on the couch upstairs. Remember, he ran upstairs
Under
before
3
opening
minutes.
the door. He definitely did something. Um, for sure. What it was, I don't know for certain, but yeah, I mean, the phone was definitely upstairs under the couch cushions, and Nicole Atkinson's son had a hell of a premonition and went right straight to it.
Yeah. And he told
Which,
Chris, he goes, wait till you turn that on because the phone was shut off. And he said that's going to blow up with messages. And there was
yes,
none
there was
because,
none.
because that phone had already been on and all the messages already came through. And funny enough, none of Nicole Atkinson's messages came in until that afternoon. So all the time she said that she called or messaged Shanann, it never happened. There was 4 that came in, all 4 together, and they were that late that afternoon. So, and absolutely none from Sandy.
I don't think the girls were part of any plan either.
Not
I
at
don't
all.
even know that there was a plan, just to be honest.
Well,
And I
why
know
would-
that is unpopular as hell right there. That is
Yeah.
one of my unpopulars. But
Why would
I don't think it was.
NK help Chris go out look for a 2-bedroom apartment and look for bunk beds for the girls?
Yeah,
That
I mean,
makes no
I
sense.
don't know. Well, why wouldn't he let him have cake? Why wouldn't he let his own dad speak to him on FaceTime? I
That's
mean,
right.
I don't think any of it was premeditated. I just don't. And I know that's unpopular, but I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, in the discovery it said CW found it, but on the body cam it's actually Nick that found it and gave it to Chris.
Yes.
That's like Dr. Phil saying that Shanann drove her Lexus home from the airport and parked it in the driveway. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, they were very, very small. I was reading a case just the other day. What was it? I think it was the guy that got stuck in the cave. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
And yeah, it was a guy that got stuck in a cave, and he was, exploring, and he couldn't get out and he actually died there, and they sealed the cave up, and now it's like a memorial to him. He's
Oh,
still
wow.
there. Yeah, I was going to make a video on it, and I still am going to do that because it's a very interesting case. But this hole that he got in this cave, and he only got, I think it was just to his chest, was no more than 8 inches. And I was like, how? I mean, this is a grown man. How?
Oh, wow.
Even
Yeah.
getting your shoulders through that. How?
Yeah. I actually, there was another one too. This guy was, where the heck was he? It's almost like he was in the desert or something, where he was doing climbing and stuff, and he fell through a crevice, and it was only 8 inches, and he got his arm caught in there, and he
Mm-hmm.
ended up cutting off his own arm with a pocket knife in order to get out. Otherwise, he would have died. He was there for a week.
Gosh, see, it's things like that. And then, like, Rose here is saying about them fitting in those holes. Well, you would think it's not possible, but then when you go on and you see something like I'm talking about with this cave, it's like, and what about the little boy in the suitcase? Like, he was
That's right. Yeah.
5 years old,
Yeah.
and somehow in this suitcase, and it's just how, but it can happen. Yes, it is a horrific story, and I am going to make a video on that because a lot of people don't know that case. It's horrific.
So, what are your thoughts on that 111-minute phone call?
Mine?
Yeah, because I'm looking here, people are still talking about the ping the next morning.
Right. I believe that they were sitting there talking about how he was going to approach her and tell her that he wanted a divorce and wanted out, and and they need to talk about this. And I think him and NK was kind of schooling him on how he needs to approach Shanann with that. That is what I believe. And I also believe that there's a possibility that he says, well, what if it goes sideways? And she said, just call me. And I think NK probably told him to have something recording as well. And that goes on to my little theory of why Rourke will not release Chris's phone.
See, they never ever did release any of her cell phone data for the 13th or the 14th either. And Chris said that NK lit up his phone from the time he left that house until the time he got home with the police.
Yes.
I know with me, that 111-minute phone call, I always thought that she was at home and they were talking on the phone and he was going to back out of whatever the plan that they had going on. And she drove to the house because during that time, his cell phone actually disconnected from the router.
It
And
did.
some 10, 15 minutes later, it connected again. And then the call was ended. And he never ever did call back or message her again after that.
Well, wasn't there an unknown device also that connected
Yes,
to
there
his
was.
router at that? Yeah, that's what I
And
was thinking.
see, that's another thing about her phone bill, too, that really gets me.
And the
Because
only way for an unknown device to connect to the router is if the unknown device knows the Wi-Fi password.
that's right. But see, with her phone, she goes and tries to destroy her SIM card, right? That means nothing. The only thing that does is it has the provider's information on there for, to operate your phone. But the thing is on her phone bill, it has the telephone number, but it doesn't have a device. But yet when she got her new phone, it has the device right on it saying what kind of phone it is. On my phone, like with mine, it says right on there, it's an iPhone. Okay. So to me, she did print that off, so she could have taken off whatever it was. But what I'm getting at is she did turn in an iPhone, yes, but by you can have two phones and you can take that SIM card out and put it into as many phones as you want and still operate them phones. So yes, it could have been a burner phone, but she could have been using two phones using the same SIM card. So there could be another phone out there with lots of data on it, or again, they never released any of her information. And why didn't they do that?
Right.
So,
I do
yeah,
believe there's another phone as well as on that secret calculator app. It did have a browser that works somewhat similar to like Snapchat. Everything is and a messenger. I actually did a whole video on that actual app showing
right,
everything it did. And yes, it had its own browser, had its own messenger, and like Snapchat, I think it is, it disappears afterwards,
right.
never to be seen again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so as well. Dave, you have a question on here. It said, didn't he go outside during that phone call? It shows Chris reconnecting to the router at 10:30 p.m.
Yeah. That's what we just talked about.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He did. He left that house because it disconnected from the router. And that's why I think she drove over to the house and, they went back inside the house together. Because one thing is he swore. That was one thing a lot of people don't believe, that Chris swore. Do you want to come in for this one?
Yeah, this one on the screen. I mean, I was just gonna say, yeah, definitely. There was a lot of stuff hidden with NK. I mean, NK even makes this statement herself in her interview saying, "Hey, we're a team. I'm gonna help you, but y'all are gonna effing help me," or something to that effect. So,
Right.
yeah,
But he also said that, um, what was it? She hit my effing girls.
yes, yes, and he said she wasn't supposed to be there.
That's
That's
right. She wasn't
a
supposed to
big
be there.
deal to me. She wasn't supposed to be there. And then him also saying, which is so odd, this was all in the Wisconsin interview that I'm speaking of. Not that she wasn't supposed to be there, but this in the Wisconsin interview. At one point, he's stating what he did to the girls at Survey. At the same time, just before that, they're asking him what is he thinking about on that long trip, and he's like, "Just how I can save my girls." Now, what
That's
in
right.
the hell does that mean?
Right. To me, again, I think that it was supposed to be a stage, maybe like a kidnapping or something. And it went wrong. And the girls, who knows, they could have been dropped off at the school that morning. But again, with somebody coming into the house, then the plan is gone. It's done.
Yep, Lily, that is very true. And not only was she the top of the prosecution's witnesses, she is the one that, according to Rourke, broke the case wide open with her bombshell evidence. Now,
Yeah,
what is that? Macros?
that's right.
Did Macros broke his case wide open? I don't think so.
No, the only thing it could be is if she talked to the FBI before she talked to CBI and Frederick Police.
And she
That'd be the only
absolutely
way.
did, in my opinion. She
And that'd be
absolutely
the
did.
only way that they knew where the bodies were before he confessed.
Well, here's the thing. Look how hard they were on this case. Like, think about it from from the 13th. Look, I mean, you got to be honest. Look at all the missing people and missing children out there. You don't really see this much emphasis put into missing people cases. Unfortunately, that was being put onto this, and like from the second.
Right.
You know, I'm talking about how many officers are in Frederick, how many are there? It looks like and you'll see this in the distributing the flyer thing. It's like there's 5 or 6 just in that area distributing flyers. Now, Frederick's not that big, right?
No.
So is every officer that they have on shift only focusing on this case? Because that's damn sure what it looks like.
Well, why in the heck would they have a gang unit working on it too?
Oh my God. I mean, it's like a SWAT. Have you ever seen that for any other missing person? I mean, it's got to and I'm glad they did. I'm not condoning it. What I'm saying is, can you imagine what, say, someone else that lives in Frederick that has filed a missing person, could feel like, hey, they didn't do this for me.
Right.
And I get it was little children and I get it was a pregnant woman, but I mean, y'all, let's be honest, we see that a lot, and they don't get that much. I'm talking the whole police department was involved in this case for 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even think they had another one out there to patrol with. They were
No.
all on this case.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? Even the investigators, it's just like boom, it blew up. And then on the 15th, if they were that hard on this case from the 13th and the 14th and even the 15th when they were distributing flyers, okay, that hard, and then boom, this mistress calls in, the one they've been stalking the night before, thinking Chris is going to go over there. And she calls in that morning and she's like, hey, I got some information that might help y'all. Do y'all really think they're going to say, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to get with you till 5:30 this evening. So, what do you want to do? You want to meet, I don't know, at the truck stop, at the park, or it's just weird, right? Oh,
That's
park.
right.
You would think they would want her in a controlled setting with, the recorders, everything professional, because this is a big deal, obviously.
That's right.
What they've been doing for the 13th and 14th. I mean, this is a big deal. But do you really think they're going to put her off till 5:30 that evening? Or do you think they're going to go, okay, we need to talk to you ASAP?
That's right. That's why I think they talked to FBI first, because they had all the information, and just to make a discovery, more or less, is why that they went the other route and meeting in a park and everything else. So
Yeah, I mean, it's like if she called that morning and it says in the discovery she did, then
Yeah.
why would they have put her off till that night?
Yeah.
5:30, 6 o'clock that night, when she told them, it says in the discovery, that she has some information they may could use. It looks like they would have been on a damn jet to her wanting to get this information.
Mm-hmm.
No, we'll just do it sometime tonight. No, I ain't buying it.
Yeah.
I believe exactly what happened. When she called in and told them that is what they did. Okay, we need to talk to you ASAP. And I think they did go meet. And I think what we got at 5:30 that afternoon was, quote unquote, for the record.
Yeah. Even with Chris, I don't think he found out that anybody was dead until they did that bolo with him, where they were calling his cell phone and it kept on disconnecting, and then he called back on his work phone, and discovery shows that NK, and he even said NK was on his personal phone on speakerphone while he talked to the police on his work speakerphone.
Right.
So
Actually, yeah.
yeah. So even then, if you listen to his voice, it's completely different from any other time. And it sounds like he had been crying. So I think
Yes.
she had told him that the girls were gone at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Because after that, his whole attitude, everything changed about him. Like, no more smiles, no more joking around or nothing like that. It was like pretty much a different Chris altogether. So,
Right. And just like Lisa says here, it's like, why would they stay there like literally all day? Just to check on a friend. And I get it was a serious situation, y'all. We're not trying to make anything less than what it is, but we're going off of when it actually happened, like in the moment. And it does also, I agree, Lisa, it does also seem like quite bizarre that they would call in like their whole force and their detectives and everything in on the initial well check. Like I, it just seems like they would have said, okay, Chris, even if they do suspect the hell out of him, go ahead and put the undercovers outside like they did. But why? I'm not getting it. Why? It's like they knew something for sure at that point. Something was up, It's just weird. This
that
kind of
bothers me too, though, with the undercovers watching his every move, and yet they watched him pack up, I think it was blankets and backpacks or something in the car, and then he left. That was on Tuesday. And
right.
instead of him going, like letting him go to wherever he was going to go, they called him back to the police station. I thought that was really stupid, because to me it looked like he was taking, maybe, who knows, food and blankets for the girls or something.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know. And same thing, if you go back to the, when Jane was going through that house too, I don't know, when she's in the office, first thing she goes, did they smoke pot? And with her, you see, yeah, she is wearing gloves, which the police weren't, but she's
Right.
picking up everything. And a couple of things that she did pick up in that office was the girls' backpacks, and they were full and they were packed. And Shanann told Chris to make sure he packed them before school. And to me, I think he did pack them, and that's where they ended up, was in the office. So again, I don't think the girls were supposed to die.
Oh, I don't either. Definitely not. And I agree with House Huddle again. I mean, why didn't anyone walk in screaming at their, hollering, hey, they were, that nobody even hollered at them at all. And
That's
I
right.
found that quite weird.
That's why I think she was in the house before the police got there. Because I wouldn't let an infant kid, 3 years old, go up, and who knows if somebody is still in the house? Who knows if the girls were dead on the floor? Crappy thing to say, but
Yeah,
if
and
there
found it.
was a crime scene, that little girl would have found them, especially up in the playroom,
Right.
and she was just go upstairs and play. It's like,
Exactly.
oh well.
And allowing anyone in the house, just to have free reign to whatever, even two of them were minors, one of them
Yeah.
little, and of course, Nicole's son was a minor as well. And just touching everything. I mean, that's as bad a contaminated scene as John Bonet. So if they're going to take this case this seriously and call in their whole force over here and everything that's being done, then why not handle it as a crime scene? And it's definitely not.
Well, it's the same thing as when Nick said, or it looks like blood, like on the landing, on the molding there, on the floor. And the cop goes with his bare hands and he picks at it. Well, he takes a picture of it first. But if that was blood and here he is with his bare fingers, like, what the heck? Who does that?
Mhm.
Oh, well. So, what's your next live going to be on?
Well, yeah, tomorrow we're going to be doing again a premiere. I'm going to try to get it started a little earlier. And tomorrow's premiere, let me see. Let me look really quick. I've been trying to get all of these on the channel so we would have them. Okay, tomorrow is Boots on the Ground. So
Oh, good.
tomorrow's preview is going to be Boots on the Ground. It is going to be the neighborhood canvas, them talking to the local stores. Keep in mind, I do not cut any of the footage. So just keep that in mind. It's not cut. So some of it, when they're just walking up to random doors, no one's home, it could, but I'm not cutting it because there could be something in the background we all should look at, things of that nature.
Right.
Tomorrow, boots on the ground. And then if possible, like we did tonight, we'll follow up with a live like we have tonight. And we'll discuss that just like we've done tonight. I mean, I think this whole topical thing that we done tonight's pretty cool. I think it worked out really well. Lots of things were talked about and brought to attentions, and I think it worked out pretty well. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, it did actually better than I thought. Nobody went to jail.
Yeah, didn't even have to set the chat to members only. I don't like doing that.
No.
I like for us to all to be able to chat together, and I don't like doing the whole members only. I don't even do Patreon because I don't even think I just can't do that. But anyway, seems like everything worked great tonight, and we'll just try doing it again tomorrow night. Y'all don't forget about the premiere, though. I'm going to try to set it for earlier than 7, so we can start the live a little earlier, so it's not midnight when we're done. So, yeah. But we've been here 2.5 hours. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Dave, thank you for sitting with us. I mean, you got to be here though. Hell, you're the admin of the channel, and believe me, your opinion is wanted to be heard. Look at the questions you got out there.
Oh, I wish I could tell more, but there's a lot of stuff that will be coming out, but
Oh,
not
yeah.
by me. Hopefully within the next month or so. There should be an interview coming up I've been waiting for, so it might
Oh,
open
yeah.
some more eyes, and we'll have to wait and see how that goes.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely some more things that's going to be coming to surface soon. But anyway, can't say much more than that at the moment about that. But okay, guys. Well, thank you all for being here. We will see you all tomorrow night. I hope you can make it. Be looking for your notifications and click the bell so you will not miss them. And y'all have a great night. Thank you for joining us.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave us a comment below on your thoughts of this video. And until next time, this is Unjustified.